Darkness shackled Fort Greyvs long before the base was empty. Nestled among the pine forests and rolling hills of Idaho, it seemed like a normal closed military zone, forgotten after the Cold War. But inside its concrete walls was something that was not meant to be awakened. The team arrived at the base in mid-fall. The leaves were already falling, the sky was low, as if the world was leaning forward, holding all the breath. Sarah Mason was sitting in the passenger seat of a black Jeep, holding an old photo of her father in uniform, taken a year before he went missing. He served here. She came not only as a military psychologist, but also as a daughter looking for the truth. The base greeted them with silence. The entrance gate was rusty, the lock broken long ago. John Rivers, a technician, joked, "Looks like we're in for lunch." But there was tension in his voice. Together with Miguel Soto, an IT guy, security guard Riley Connors, and scientist Lance Bauer, they entered the administrative building. There was no one inside. The smell of dampness, dust that rose in clouds from under their feet, and a strange humming sound, barely perceptible, as if the concrete itself was breathing. On the second floor, they found an old communications room. Miguel managed to connect the system to a portable generator. The screens came to life, played with interference, and then, in a language that sounded like English but was distorted, the system said, "Project 5B, sleep mode, deactivated." Sarah felt a sharp pain in her temples, and her heart began to race. The room went dark, although the lights remained on. The next day, they began exploring the lower levels. They went down to the bunker, the door of which led to the Department of Neuropsychoacoustic Research. The walls were covered with scratches. On one of them were words carved with fingernails. "They can hear us even in our thoughts." Lance came across an archive room where cassettes with recordings of experiments were kept. One of the tapes shows a soldier in a room. A humming sound comes from the speakers. After 45 seconds, he starts tearing the skin off his face, whispering, "I see a mouth. It's singing through me." That evening, John disappeared. Riley called for him, but found only his walkie-talkie on the floor, blaring from the speaker. "I'm in. You're in. We're alone now." They searched for him for several hours, but in vain. Later, the cameras showed him opening the door to the clearing zone, Sector 5B, which did not officially exist. Miguel started talking in his sleep, in a voice that was not his. Sarah wrote down, "Silence is a mirror. The mirror is the door is a mouth, and the mouth is him." That night, Riley woke up to find himself standing on the roof of the building, barefoot, with a knife in his hand. In his dream, he heard his younger brother's voice telling him to cleanse himself. Sarah found a map, a tunnel that was not on the plans. Its walls are covered with organic patterns, pulsating, warm to the touch. At the end of the tunnel was a chamber with mirrors that did not reflect faces, only mouths. They were moving. One of them whispered, "We breathe in you." Lance was the first to go crazy. He started destroying the equipment, screaming that he had to free the voice within. His eyes were black. He opened the airlocks of Sector 5B. Inside was a tower of meat and machinery, to which the bodies of soldiers were attached. They were singing without a voice. In the center was a sphere that pulsed like a heart, but each of its beats echoed in his head, changing his thoughts. Miguel activated the silence protocol, the last system of stopping, but it was too late. Sarah was running away when the base began to shake. The echo of voices did not subside. She saw the walls bleeding and the ceiling turning into living tissue. In the corridor was John, without eyes, without skin. He was smiling without a mouth. But she ran away. She made it. She went out into the woods barefoot, covered in scratches. There was movement behind her, a shadow. She did not look back. A week later, the news said, Fort Greyvs has been officially dismantled. But in the footage recovered from the drone, the last frame shows a black figure standing on a hill and turning its head after Sarah. Its mouth opens downward, infinitely deep. And now every night in the town nearby, children wake up screaming, "He's inside!" They all say the same words that were heard on the recordings from Sector 5B. And the new research team that was supposed to arrive in a month hasn't gotten in touch. The last message from the radio read, "We are no longer alone. We are his voice." The darkness at Fort Greyvs has not fallen asleep. It only listens, and waiting